Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For today's podcast episode, I'm going to be talking about Rob Zombie's Munsters reboot, and also too, there's also some Stephen King news that dropped over this week and everything as well. So, without further ado, let's go on ahead and get on with the show. First off, and everything, let's talk about the Munsters reboot that Rob Zombie's doing, and I just want to say this is the fact that I like Rob Zombie. I love his music, but when it comes down to his original content as far as his movies goes, I'm not really a big fan of Rob Zombie when it comes down to his movies. Now, his music, on the other hand, I love his music. I've been to two of Rob Zombie's concerts. I really love the guy for what he does and stuff like that. He puts on a great concert, and I've also liked the Halloween reboot that he did back in 2007. But anything after that or whatever, I really didn't really care for. I tried Lords of Salem, I tried 31, I tried House of a Thousand Corpses. After so many years of not watching it, it didn't really age that well, in my opinion, or anything like that. I used to love that movie, but now I don't really find that movie that entertaining like I used to. It's just part of growing up. You just don't feel the way you used to do about certain films, and then you realize that that film is no longer for you. So, with that being said, let's go on ahead and get into the whole entire Munsters. So basically, they haven't picked out any casting or anything like that. Now, there are some rumors going on right now, and that's the fact that Jeff Daniels Phillips, it might be playing Herman Monster. Now, I like this casting. I thought he was great in Westworld. I think that this is actually good casting. Not only that, but we already have that little inside joke that maybe possibly Sherry Moon the zombie might be Lily Munster, which is no surprise if she actually is that character, or she could actually be um, the daughter of Lily and Herman Munster. But we're just gonna have to wait and see about that part. But anyways, this is what Variety said. Zombie's directing career kicked off in the early 2000s, starting with hardcore horror films like House of Thousand Corpses in 2003, The Devil's Rejects in 2005. He then wrote and directed the 2007 reimagination of John Carpenter's Halloween, which starred Scout Taylor Compton and Tyler Main as the territorial serial killer Michael Myers. Although the film was panned by critics, it grossed over 80 million at the box office and also had a sequel. Halloween 2 was released in 2009 using the film to help promote his music. Zombie released his new music, Rob Zombie Presents Captain Clegg and the Nightmare Creatures, on the same day Halloween 2 was released. And then, of course, we've been seeing this whole entire thing pop up where basically Rob is going to be doing his own reiteration of the Munsters and things like that. Now, here's the thing. I've always liked the Munsters. I remember watching old reruns and stuff like that on TV Land and things like that. But as far as things go and stuff like that, I've always been like an Addams Family kind of guy. That's just who I am. I love the Addams Family. But when you look at the Munsters and stuff like that, I really have to say the Munsters is a great classic TV show. I'm not sure how Rob is actually going to turn this into his own adaptation of it, but here's the thing. I'm not that interested in it right now, but it could wind up being a really good treat if it's done in a certain way. We just have to wait and see how this actually plays out. But as of right now and everything, I'm just going to go on ahead and put an asterisk by it saying, hey, look, I'm going to give this thing a chance, seeing what it is, and give me the groundwork that I'm going to have to weigh in later on. But, as far as Rob goes, like I said, his directing style is not for me or anything like that. But if he's for you, I'm actually happy for you that you like his directing style and stuff like that. And I get the fact that he's doing like a 1970s kind of flavor when you think about it. But for me, his style just doesn't work for me in certain areas or anything like that. I felt like the Halloween movie was the better of the films that he's actually put out. But his music is spot on. As a matter of fact, when you go to his concerts, you actually feel like you're going into a cardio workout. Now, let me read what Crichton Hobbs has to say about this. The Munsters might be a nightmare before Christmas, how it was for Tim Burton. Yeah, it could definitely be one of those things where it might be a cult classic later on and stuff like that. And yes, I believe that it could be on that level. But but one of the things I have to say is I love Rob Zombie fans. I love the fans and stuff like that, or who are actually looking forward to this Rob Zombie adaptation of the show, and he has the fan community backing him. It's just for me right now, I have to see what this thing looks like. I have to see a trailer before I'm actually sold on it. But as far as possibly uh, this other actor might be possibly playing Herman Monster, Jeff Daniel Phillips. I feel like he has the look of Herman Monster. Then again, you don't really actually have to have the same character makeup as the original Herman Monster. That's just how that his face frame actually was for Frankenstein and things like that for Herman Monster. To me, you can actually have just about almost anybody play that role if you're doing a reboot and stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to have the same type of characteristics as the original actor that played that character, but it does help in a sense because you can actually say, hey, look, he looks just like Herman Monster. But I think that I'm just gonna have to wait and see how this actually plays out. This is actually going to be a little bit of a shorter episode than what I'm anticipating on doing right now. This is just a little short movie news show. I hope that you guys enjoy what I'm going to be doing. So now the next topic at hand is the fact that Blumhouse is actually doing a Christine remake of the John Carpenter film of 1983. This is also based off of a Stephen King novel. And basically, the 1983 original was directed by John Carpenter, like I said, about a shy teen who comes out of his shell after he buys a 58 Plymouth Fury to fix up. The car has a mind of its own as well as a murderous past and begins to change the young man and everyone around him in the most dangerous fashion. Fuller has a solid sci-fi pedigree as a writer and producer of the series Star Trek, Discovery, American Gods, Hannibal, Heroes, and other features that he's done. Fuller is getting under the hood with the intention is to keep it in 1980s time period and grounded in King's bestseller. It's a good time for the Apple TV Plus limited series Lizzie's Story, which King adapted from his novel. So if you're interested in another Stephen King property, Lizzie's Story is actually playing on Apple TV right now, Apple TV Plus, which I don't have, unfortunately, so I won't be able to get to watch that. But I also know Lizzie's Story is not that great of a book to begin with, but everybody seems to want to go ahead and check it out anyways, which I don't blame him. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. Peter Kang is overseeing for Sony Pictures Fuller. Okay, so that's the report that Deadline has reported. And here's the thing. I love the fact that they want to keep it in that 1980s realm because I feel like there's a lot of other stuff that you can tackle on in the story to make it his own, to make Brian Fuller his own story out of this remake. Because here's the thing, you can make a remake, but you actually can do it in other ways though. You can actually use your own perspective on how what the characters should do, what the characters should look like, and make it your own movie rather than doing a rehash of what we got in the original John Carpenter film. But I have to say this, I'm excited at the fact that they're going to try and do this again. And maybe we might actually see some more character development from Ernie's side and stuff like that. A lot more layers to be fleshed out. Don't get me wrong. I love the original John Carpenter's Christine. I just wanted to see more from the actor and stuff like that. And yes, I agree with Crichton on this one, though, too. I hope they don't change the music too much. Yes, I'm hoping that they don't. I'm hoping that they use the John Carpenter theme. Otherwise, it might not feel like Christine, but maybe a little bit more of an present day kind of feel, even though it's not present day in 2021, but maybe a little bit of a change of the theme or whatever else, but still keep it in its pristine condition. But I feel like this. I think that I'm going to give this a chance because I love Stephen King. I love Christine. Matter of fact, I have the Christine novel and everything, and I read it. And I feel like there's some key things that the movie didn't get the first go around. I think that if they followed the pattern of the book and adapted into their own thing, because here's the thing. The job of the director is not to make something out of a book and make it appear on the screen, well, it is, but the job of the director is to do what's best for the universe that he's trying to create around it. And if this director can actually go ahead and make a decent film where you can actually make it his own rather than a rehash of something that we've already seen, then he's knocked it out of the park. But if it's just a rehash of the same dialogue, the rehash of everything that Ernie went through and stuff like that, then basically you just have a carbon copy and updated version that happens in 2021 that you got from the 1980s version of Christine, which is something I don't want to see. The one thing that I have to say that worked for Stephen King's It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 is, yes, it takes place in the 1980s rather than the 1960s, which the book took place in the 1960s. But I feel like that what the director did was he made it his own. He made the universe that he's trying to create surrounded by these characters and making it to what he needs to do. So I feel like if this director hits all the notes that Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 did, I think this is going to be a grand slam. Now, here's the thing. Just because I said that he hit certain elements of Chapter 2, the movie is decent, but not as good as Chapter 1. But if this director can actually land some of the things and learn from what this other director did with doing Stephen King's It Chapter 1 and maybe adapting a little bit of It Chapter 2, maybe there might be actually a chance for it to be good. So I'm crossing my fingers because some Stephen King adaptations are not that great, but this looks kind of promising because, like I said, I think that Blumhouse is a smart... Now, I think Blumhouse is actually a smart production company and everything else, but here's the thing. I said this before. Blumhouse has a very love-hate relationship with me. On paper, it looks great. The original ideas on paper, coming out from paper onto the screen, doesn't really do that much for me. I didn't really like Happy Death Day. I didn't like Happy Death Day 2. I didn't like Truth or Dare. I didn't like some of the other films that they've done. But one thing I can appreciate the fact that they do is they try to do something original and they try to make it their own. And just because it doesn't land well on the screen, I can't give them enough credit for what they're trying to do on paper, because on paper it looks great and everything. And they're trying to use their imaginations to come up with something that's fresh and new and everything. So I have to give them credit where credit is due as far as that. And I also like the new retelling of the Halloween franchise as well. I know that I said I love the Rob Zombie 2007 reboot, but here's the thing. I feel like with Blumhouse and what they're doing is they're making it a retelling of something that we've already seen, but also too getting rid of some elements that we once knew about, that once canon, which is no longer canon now, and making a universe stand on its own rather than doing callbacks to the original stuff that they did in the very first Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. And I think that's working well for their universe. Now, if they were able to do that with this Stephen King adaptation of Christine, I think that we might actually have a home run. So that's everything that I want to touch on for right now as far as this. Like I said, I know that this is a short video. But, I feel like that I wanted to put some content on here for you guys to watch, to be entertained by for maybe 15 minutes and stuff like that. So I hope that you guys enjoy this. Go on ahead, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Another thing, too, is, guys, this is the last day for my merch, for my t-shirt. So go to www.bonfire.com. Movie Lovers Unite for that. Go on ahead, donate to the page. How do you do that? Just go on ahead, go to gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. That's how you can donate to the page. Show me some love. If you guys can't, I totally understand. I know this coronavirus has actually put some holes in people's pockets. I totally understand that, but that's okay. A simple share is all that we need, to be honest with you. And then, of course, go on ahead and follow me at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, underneath the same name on Pinterest and on Instagram. Then, of course, if you are a sponsor or anything like that and you want to sponsor us, or if you just want to get in touch with me, how do you do that? You just go on ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And another thing, too, is for all your entertainment needs and wants, just go on ahead, go to www.movieloversunite.com. And then, of course, you guys can follow me on Stereo and also on Twitter underneath the same name, Movie Lovers Unit. And then those are all the places that you can actually follow me at. And always, until next time, guys, it's been real but fun. I can't wait to do this again. Like I said, I apologize for the shortness of this video, but I hope that you guys do get something out of it. And I hope that everybody has a safe and great day. And bye-bye.